Hey, I got a question from one of my subscribers who found a contradiction in two thoughts which I deliver in my presentations. On one side, I'm saying that a programmer has to work just a few hours a day. And I did say that. On another hand, on the other side, I'm saying that a good programmer is the one who is passionate about the profession, who works a lot, who basically doesn't close the laptop ever. So where do I stand? So what's right? What's wrong? Do programmers have to work a lot, or they have to just spend a few hours a day? And then the question from this subscriber was, what else to do? If you just work for 2-3 hours a day, then what do you do in the rest of the time? What the programmer, a good programmer, who I believe is a good programmer, has to spend time for. There is no contradiction, because I believe that work is one thing, and having fun doing programming and working with the code, working with technical problems is another thing. That's what I do, and that's what I think makes sense to me. When you do something which gives fun to you, when you learn something, when you practice some new languages, when you try some new frameworks, when you create new frameworks, when you read interesting books, when you write interesting books, when you write your blog posts, when you answer questions on Stack Overflow, when you create some open source pet projects, this is how you have fun. This is your life. So this is what you do ideally 24 hours a day. Of course, you need time to sleep, you need time to eat, you need time to spend time with your family. But ideally, in a perfect world, 24 hours a day, I would do that. I would just spend time to get fun from life by working with computers. This is not what I call work. This is what I call investment into the future. This is how I invest to make myself better, to make myself as a professional better. That's my investment. And then I have to live somehow, because nobody's going to pay me for that. Because this is how I make fun. Some people play games on the computer. They play tanks, they play World of Warcraft, and I don't do that. I play with the code. But nobody's going to pay for that. It's just fun. On the other hand, I have to make money. So I have to go somewhere and do some projects for somebody. So I have to write code for somebody, for some company, for some employer, or maybe some the customer, or somebody who will pay. And there will be no fun, or less fun. Of course, ideally, in an ideal world, I will also have fun there, but much less. In real world, it's much less fun. And for most of you, there will be no fun at all, or really small amount of fun, because they will tell you to do what they need, and in most cases you're not going to like that business-wise. You're not going to like the concept of what they do. You're not going to like the business cases and all that. But you have to do that in order to get the money, in order to continue having fun, in order to continue doing something interesting, in order to continue investing into yourself. So the more you can invest into yourself, the better professional you will become, and the less amount of time you will have to spend on making money. So if you're a very good professional, a really top world-class guy who knows something very special and who can solve really complex problems, can get, I don't know, $300 an hour, then you just can work for 1-2 hours a day, and that will be enough for you to have enough money to have an ability to have fun. So the more expensive you are on the market, the more professional you are, the more these people will pay for your 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And then you can go back to fun, and instead of playing tanks and playing World of Warcraft, but you will invest time into yourself becoming better. Because every time you have fun, every time you do something interesting, that's how you become better. You cannot become better by just doing routine work where people pay for you. No matter what you think about, I mean, no matter what people who hire you think about this. You become better by doing things for fun. I believe in that. Because that's how you learn, because that's how you practice new stuff, that's how you face the challenges much more actively than when you work with stuff for money. So there has to be the balance between the time you spend on the projects where you collect the money and the time you spend on projects where you invest the money or your time. And in an ideal world, like 2-3 hours a day here and all of your time here. And if you do a lot of work here, if you work 8 hours for your boss, 8 hours for your customer, then you have almost zero time, because you need to spend time with your family, you need to sleep, you need to eat. So there will be not enough time to really invest into yourself, and you will degrade quickly. You will become just a routine programmer who at best can make an average amount of money, an average amount on the market. So try to minimize the amount of time you spend for your boss, you spend for the projects where you collect the money, and spend more time on the projects where you invest time and money into yourself. But on the other hand, you cannot make this time taking all of your time, because in this case you stop making money and eventually you will again get out of the market. So you may go out of the market because you will stop understanding what the customers may need from you. So you may start inventing things which nobody needs. You may go into learning something which is completely detached from the reality. So there has to be the balance between investing into yourself and collecting the paychecks. 50-50, I don't know, maybe this balance. But I'm always into trying to make this part larger, trying to make investing part, because it's more fun, larger than collecting the money. So think about this. This is the balance. A few hours here, more hours there. And that's how you grow. That's how you become better. That's how your profile grows. That's how you eventually get yourself into the situation where 1 hour of your time costs $300. In this case, you can work for a few hours or maybe a few days and then take a rest for a few weeks. Or maybe you can work for a month and then take a rest, a long vacation. Not a vacation, but a long time to have fun with computers for maybe a year or so. That would be the ideal position. Not 8 hours every day in the office. That's completely lousy position, which totally degrades you and leads you nowhere. I hope I told you something interesting. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.